We're back
We are glad to be here.
on a beautiful fall day, and we're a little chilly, so we're back in our
Oh
robes.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so we are so happy to be here today.
We always are.
We're going to get a report in a little bit on the Queen's knee. But
Oh,
first, we're going to introduce our word because it kind of has something to do with it. There's always like a link.
right.
So what is our word, Queenie?
Our word is persistence or persevering.
Yes.
That's close.
Persistence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Like,
you are a model of persistence and never giving up.
well, is there any other way?
Well, yeah, not in your world, but in many people's world. And I think with, especially with this virus, a lot of people are ready to give up. They're just throwing their hands up.
I know.
And I know in church this week, our pastor had a great example. He said back in March when this hit, we all thought it was a sprint.
Yeah.
He said, and then it kept going. And so then the baton passed to the bike. And it turned into a triathlon.
Yeah.
And then the biker had to pass it on to the swimmer.
Yep.
And, it's like a marathon.
Oh, it
that
is.
It's still going. And so we need to be persistent.
We do, but optimistic too.
Yes.
We're not going to let any negativity. Remember, Tom, nothing negative.
Nothing negative. That's our family slogan.
We are going to keep going and persist. And that's always been part of my outlook. I didn't know I was doing it, but I just have to keep going on.
Sometimes it's just waking up and doing the next thing and taking that next step and just doing it day after day. And I think, Mom, your life and how we grew up, a single mother with 7 children, is such a symbol and example of persistence. Because I remember one example out of the many, many there are is when you went back to school.
Oh, yeah.
And schooling takes persistence.
Well, that was the time that they were recruiting older adults to go back to college. And I had a scholarship that I hadn't used. I only went 1 year to college before getting married. And so I kind of talked to the older children a little bit. I was working at home. We had a minimum income. And I knew if I became a teacher, I loved children. It was something I dreamed of doing.
She was Teacher of the Year many years, by the way.
Well, we gave it a try. It was funny because we didn't have a car then. So Julie had a ride on the back of my bicycle. And she was, 3 or 4?
I think you wrote a story. You left me like in the student lounge.
I did. And
Here, you watch my kid while I go into class.
And she was the love of the lounge. And she had her crayons and coloring book, but everybody loved her. And I had to take her with. She wasn't old enough to get into the preschool or kindergarten where the other girls were. So we got a car after that. I could see through the bottom. It was a junker, but we made it. And it's
amazing we survived.
I crashed my way through those courses, graduated early, and
I'm pretty sure with honors.
Had a job right away, and our life changed for the better.
Yeah.
And I love teaching. I mean, I really didn't want to give it up at the end. I was 70 years old, really.
Yeah. Wow. It's just amazing. But again, that's just one of many stories of persevering, of going back to school. And I know there are a lot of students right now struggling because everything's online.
Yes.
And school takes discipline.
Yeah.
It takes perseverance. And it usually comes down, if you're wanting to get scholarships, it comes down to those final weeks with the final exams. And one of our family slogans was the Osbornes never walk, the final mile of the marathon. That was always my pep talk going into finals for my kids.
Good for you.
Because I ran a marathon back in 2002.
Oh, I remember that.
And knees padded up. Like I had so many injuries. I ran with a stress fracture, but I persevered. But I'll never forget literally being in the final mile of the marathon, and there were people walking. And I thought, I would have to be dead after all this training and all of this. Any marathoners out there, you know what I'm talking about. You are sprinting to the finish.
Oh, yes.
Because you are so happy that you're that close. And so from that and from watching these people walk the final mile came our family slogan, that we do not walk.
No,
and
we don't.
The final mile. And that's where perseverance kicks in, because you have to, it's just, you gotta sometimes grind through it. I mean, the Queen here does it very happily and optimistically.
I don't know any better.
Us, that's because that's who she is. She's pixie dust. But some of us have to just grind. Sometimes you just got to put your head down and grind it out. And
I kind of forced my children to persevere. They didn't have other options.
We didn't have a choice.
They had no television, only homework.
Yeah, we had to get scholarships.
I knew they had to get scholarships, and they did. But it was all work and not much play, although we did have a good time.
We had a great childhood. I have just such happy memories. But yeah, we did learn the skill of persevering, and it is a skill. It's something you can learn, and you just have to, like I said, sometimes just keep going and push through. I remember finals week, even in college, I would award myself. Sometimes you have to give yourself perks. A pizza.
Yes.
I'd be up all night.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, if it's, you know, like 3 in the morning, I order a pizza. That'll keep me going.
Yes.
So, but whatever it takes, sometimes we have to persevere and to get through. And we need each other too to help us.
We do.
Especially now during these difficult times. But
we just have to encourage each other not to give up. I can see the end of the tunnel. I can see the rainbow at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And that's got to keep us going at this time.
Absolutely.
But we know God is helping us along. We're not alone.
No doubt.
That helps.
And God has been walking with us through this, even though we don't always feel God's presence. We know that He's with us. And I know for a fact He's been with my mama here.
Oh, He has.
Through health issues. So a lot of people have had to persevere through health struggles. And you've had many.
I didn't think they were big ones, really.
Crashed through the windshield in a car accident. This is years ago. I remember many boots you had on with broken legs, knees, I don't know what, blood clots. But the Queenie here, her knee, she just had her shot in her knee.
My dancing leg.
And how are we doing with the dancing leg? Everyone wants to know.
We're doing better. It doesn't hurt like it did. And I expected instant cure. I mean, I got that shot and I walked out thinking, I'm going to be great. It took a week. And I finally called the doctor's office. I said, what's up? My knee isn't any better. And she said, no, it takes a week. After I heard that.
You have to persist, Mom.
Well, patience.
You have to be patient.
I know. See, patience is a word we haven't covered much, have we?
Patience and persistent, though, they go together. They really kind of go together.
But now this leg is going to town.
There it is. We might be on the porch next week
I'll get a new one if I have to. I'm not going to give up.
You are not getting knee replacement at 91. I don't think the doctor would recommend that.
Well, the doctor said I'm healthy. You know, I just got my ear cut open and a tube put in about an hour ago.
Unbelievable. Yes. Here she sits on the porch.
He kept saying, now this is going to hurt and tell me if it's hurting more. He numbed it, but he couldn't really get inside to do a lot. And I have fluid in there. I don't know what's going on, but I know my ear shut down. And so he put a tube in there, and it was a piece of cake. I mean, I didn't feel the pain, the stinging, all the things he told me about. So I know God was with me.
Absolutely. But you're amazing. So let me just stop for a moment and clarify. So Mama here, just when she showed up at my house, she had just come from the doctor and they had just put the tube in her ear. Just now. And here she sits on the porch. Talk about persevering through pain. Sometimes, it's uncomfortable. You got this thing in your ear now.
It could have been worse. I mean, it could have been my whole ear. This was only the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So again, the positive attitude, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago, of letting go of the negative narrative and just trying to be positive and see things through a positive lens. Well, we just need to have you come on the porch every week.
It's going to be over. Don't worry.
Yes.
You know, I have to give myself a pep talk. I didn't have any chocolate with me. That would have helped. But
chocolate always helps.
Chocolate always helps.
It always helps. And that's maybe a key to persevering. You
It
have to have
could
a
be.
treat.
I
You have to
always
have a tin
have
of
my
chocolate.
treats. Yeah.
But yeah, chocolate helps. And what we talked about Sunday night is prayer.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. We talked about the persistent widow and how, and it was really a story about being persistent in prayer.
Yes.
And how we just have to keep praying and never give up. And that's exactly how the parable starts. And then it goes into the widow going to the judge and being persistent, going back to the judge. And finally, he gets tired of her and says, okay, I'll grant your wish.
I've worn down a few people in my day.
People down. I have. I was persistent in my fundraising.
You were.
Thank you for being one of our donors to help our friends like Toto.
But Julie doesn't give up either.
We don't give up.
No.
I think it started with you, though, and it kind of trickled down. So we've got the persistent genes. But I have learned that persistent prayers work.
Yes.
You just have to, because sometimes you get tired and you just think, oh God, where is God in all of this? It's like with the coronavirus now.
Exactly.
Where is God in all of this? And
well,
what's happening?
Talk to him. That's a big part. I don't have the formal prayers all the time, but I talk to God and I let him know what's going on and what I'd like him to do. Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't make deals with him, although I've been known to do that. And he just comes through. Mm-hmm. And
but not always in the way that we had hoped, and not always in the way that we had planned.
Yeah,
and not always in our timing, probably never in our timing. So God's plans are bigger and better, but we need to keep persisting in our prayers. And I'm actually thankful for some of the unanswered prayers, because sometimes we just see what's in front of us, where God sees a much bigger picture.
That's true. And you can ask for something that isn't going to be good for you.
Right.
And, you know, you may be upset, but God knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's pretty smart.
God's looking at the big plan. And it might be good for us in the short term, but really terrible in the long term. And so we just need to be persistent and lean into the Lord, especially in these difficult times, especially with health issues, especially with schooling for kids going through hard times with all these adjustments.
And
with
people
school.
that are so lonely now. I read an article yesterday about a woman in her 90s that was just ready to give up. She's so lonely, and someone wrote about it and said that he was going to try and help her out. Mm-hmm. That's what we're here for. We're not here only for ourselves, but there might be somebody around you that's waiting for you too.
Absolutely. So, somebody, God will put, the people are right in front of us. There's a lot of hurting people, and we talked about being a light. We need to be that light and that encouragement, and you've done such a great job.
It makes us feel so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels better after you've done something for someone else.
Absolutely.
It feels good when you do it for yourself too, but after you've done something for somebody else, it just makes you feel awfully good.
Absolutely. So, and sometimes it's not even doing something tangible. Maybe we're just praying, back to prayer.
Yeah,
praying for somebody is going to help. You know, sometimes you don't have the ability to go do something for somebody, or, you know, I mean, we all can maybe make a phone call or send a text of encouragement or write a letter, but we can all pray. And it's so powerful, and that's really what we need to be. We need to persist in our prayers as much as we persist in other areas of our lives, because I don't think we think about that.
No, we don't.
So
my
we're hoping
Bible
we do now.
Study group prayed for my leg, and right after that, I got my shot. Mm-hmm. I should have had them keep on with those prayers for the week afterwards.
Have them pray over the whole body.
Yeah.
The ear, the whole thing. I'm praying for you, Mama.
I can't ask for too many parts. I mean, I'm happy. In fact, we got to get going. we're going to be doing some writing.
We're persistent in our writing.
Persisting.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. It makes me happy. It's been my coronavirus therapy, actually.
Right. There's going to be a book out of the coronavirus.
Someday.
It's coming. We're on, what chapter are we on?
Well, I hope we're going to be on 6 and 7 because they go together, but...
We're on 6.
Well, I know she wants to slow me down.
Well, we have to actually get it done, so we got to slow down sometimes.
We're going to take off.
But we're taking off now. We're not slowing down.
But we're leaving you with lots of love and prayers.
Yes.
And
and we want to encourage you to be persistent, to persevere this week, and
never
to do
give up.
The next thing
Never
right in
give
front
up.
of you, and hopefully help someone along the way.
Yeah, good idea, Julie.
Yeah. So we're going to take off now. We will see you right back here on the porch next week, and maybe,
if it's not too cold,
maybe we're going to persist, Mom, even if it's cold. We have to be on the porch.
That's what she always says.
But maybe we're going to have a dance.
Maybe.
We might have
if I'm not having some surgery.
If she's not having some other surgery or procedure on
like
her
a
ear
knee
or
replacement or something.
Yeah, no knee replacement. We're not going to do that.
No,
so anyway, so we will see you next week.
All right.
All right. Have a great week.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See ya.